Alrighty then, so we spent a fair amount of time talking about things like user stories and breaking it up into tasks and laying it out into software dashboards, track things, and all that sort of stuff like that. But what I want to do now is to take a sort of a step off to the side for just a moment or two and have a little talk with you about design. So that's basically how you put the code together. Would it be fair to say there's probably such a thing as a good design and a bad design?
Yes.
Cool. Now the question is, what's the difference between a good design and a bad design? Yeah, things get a little bit more murky on that one, right? I mean, I guess if we wanted to think about it a little bit, first off, of course, we would assume that all designs hopefully produce the right output, right? So that would be our hope, guys. Next, what we want to be thinking about here is, ultimately a good design should be one that is maintainable. Somebody should be able to own that code, make updates to it quickly, easily, and efficiently, and do it with very few errors. Okay, so whatever that type of thing is, okay, we're cool with that. So let's see if we can sort of take an example, look into it, see sort of how you would go about designing it, and maybe we can get some insights into what makes good design and what makes not so good design. So what should we talk about? Well, why don't we talk about dating? Because that seems like a good thing to do. And dating is something that obviously lends itself to software. Oh my goodness, eHarmony has made a great deal of money. All right, so dating's hard. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create a software application. If you're dating, this is the software you need to have. Okay, because this is software that's going to keep you on the straight and narrow when it comes to this. Okay, so here we go. We need to account for you going on dates, multiple dates with the same person. We're optimistic that it's going to go well. Okay, okay. We need to understand that on different dates, different things happen, and the software has to account for that. And we also have to remember. Hey, look, guys, dating's all about food. And if you can't share a meal with somebody, you can't date them. Okay? So let's see if we can whip up some code to help you out with this. All right, Python dating code, version 1. All right, so what we got here? First off, I'd like to point out attractive comments. Thank you very much. If date sequence equals 1, make restaurant reservation at a high-end restaurant because you're showing off. Okay. Second command, select movie. List of Chick flicks. Next. Assuming a good date, go for the kiss. Call the next day, because nobody hates anybody more because of call. Get feedback from friends. How'd it go? Was it okay? Was it good? Alright? So that's our basic date number 1 process. Is that clear?
Yeah,
You don't have to agree with it, it just has to be clear.
that is the perfect routine.
Ella, you're going on date number 2, which is not date number 1. Make restaurant reservation. Exotic food restaurant. You're showing off. Select museum, not boring art stuff. Okay? Showing your cultural time. Go for the kiss. Call the next day. Get feedback from friends. Right. A successful second date, hopefully. Assuming that that worked out well, we move on to date number 3. If date sequence equals 3, pick park. Order takeout lunch basket. Select casual stroll path. Not too long. Go for the kiss, call the next day, get feedback from friends. Arguably, this is everything you need to do to have a successful dating career. Would you agree?
Yes.
And it's all in Python, so that's even better, right?
Right.
Computers are never wrong. Never.
It's finally happened.
However, there's a problem with your program. if I recall what you had in your program, both on day 1, day 2, and day 3, there was no mention of flowers. You can't have dating without flowers. I mean, come on. We're not savages, right? So we've decided dates need flowers. And unfortunately, you know what that means, software developer? You're going to have to change your code. Now, it's not just like add flowers to every date. Come on, really? I don't think so. It turns out that every date needs a different type of flowers. Match the flowers to the date. And, even more importantly, flowers are used at a different point in time during the date. So let's see what that code would look like.
This is,
Well, that's not going to be it.
is this,
That was the worst date ever.
Go back. Class 8 days.
All right, hopefully this is a little better than last time. Okay. Okay, if date sequence is 1, order flowers pre-date so that you show up with flowers. And then in restaurant reservation, select the movie, go for the kiss, call the next day, get the feedback from friends. Okay, fine. Elif, you're on the second date. Make the restaurant reservation, select the movie, order the flowers post-date. Send flowers to say thank you. Go for the kiss, call the next day, get feedback from friends. LF date sequence number 3, pick the park, select the casual stroll, order the flowers, remember me. Send long-lasting flowers so that you remember. So these aren't throwaway flowers, these are the ones supposed to be like sayings or something like that. Go for the kiss, invite for drinks, call the next day, get feedback from friends.
like for drinks next day?
Invite up with drinks, huh?
Okay, well this is cool, because now your code supports flowers, right? You wrote it, you forgot about flowers, you went back, you modified your code, now your code can handle flowers. You are once again on top of this dating thing. Congratulations, you're on top of the world, everything's good. There's always a problem, isn't there? See, when we add a behavior, like including flowers, we end up making lots of changes in different places. How many changes did we have to make?
We actually
4?
yeah, you put in another thing on the game.
What?
You put invite up for drinks, it wasn't in the first one.
Drinks?
Yeah.
It didn't really?
Yeah.
Really? Alright, 4! Whatever, it's all good. And did we make all of our changes to one place?
Yeah.
It was all over the place, right? I mean, congratulations, the code supports flowers now, right? But what a pain in the butt, man. We had to change a little bit of everything everywhere, right? Oh, jeez. It was going to be a simple change, just including flowers, but we had to make changes here, there, and everywhere. So perhaps our design is not the best design in the world. Maybe I did. I don't know. Let's see.
I just want so many dates. Better write a poker about it.
All right. So that was pretty ugly when we had to add it all in there, right? That sort of sucked. So maybe a better way of going about doing this is leave this code alone. Don't touch it. Instead, come down here and say, hey, determine what flowers to bring. And we pretty much do the exact same thing. If date sequence is 1, order the flowers beforehand. If date sequence is 2, order the flowers post-date. And if date sequence is 3, order the flowers, but pick the type of flowers that are going to make you be remembered, right? So pretty much all the exact same code that we put in previously, but what did we do? Instead of messing all over the place in our code, what did we do? We made all our changes in one place, right? So if we decided to send plants instead of flowers, where would we go to make our changes? Right there, right? And we'd also be reasonably confident that we had made all the changes necessary, right? We'd added, let's say, plants to all 3 dates, right? When it was sprinkled throughout these other places, we had to remember that it was there, right? If we went in to add plants, we might do the date number 1 and date number 3, but we might forget about date number 2, right? So this design seems like it's a little bit better. Would you agree with me on that? Yeah. Okay. Just easier to keep track of stuff. Okay. The design that we had was breaking what's called the single responsibility principle. Single responsibility principle says, listen, you want to have a single responsibility for all the services that are going to be carrying out that single responsibility. Basically, a piece of code that you have needs to do one thing. If you try to do a bunch of things in the same piece of code, it's going to make life a lot more complex. Remember, we're trying to set up the date, and we're trying to order flowers. We tucked it all in the same place, and that's where things start to get really complicated. Okay? When we added support for flowers, we had to go back and mess with all 3 date sections, which made life a little bit more complex than it needed to be. Okay? Remember, it's not just about flowers, is it? There could be jewelry, a concert, a sleepover, all sorts of interesting things could be going on there. So where are we here now? Okay, so we got date sequence 1. Oh, well, look at this. Make restaurant reservation, select movie. That's all just there. Date sequence 3 is pick apart, select the casual stroll, invite out for drinks. It did get tucked in there, didn't it? Determine what flowers to bring. And then look at this. Wrap up the date. Now, what was it? Go for the kiss, call the next day, get feedback from friends. Were we doing the same thing for all 3 dates?
Yes.
So we pulled it out of our design and we put it down here, right? If we decide to send a card after the date, we decide to do it no matter what date we were on, we're going to send a card. Where would we put it? Down there, right? There'd be only one place for us to add it as opposed to boom, 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 right? So this is probably the best design of all. Would you agree with me on that? All right. So remember, it's not just creating code, but it's actually creating well-designed code. Now remember, when we originally put this together, it would work. There was no question about that. Okay? But the challenge was it was going to be difficult to maintain, and the possibility of somebody forgetting to make a change or goofing up on something was much greater because of the way we had everything sprinkled throughout the code. Does that make sense? Ripple effect is bad. When you make one change, you don't want that change to go out and affect a whole bunch of other code. Right? What seems like a very simple change, if you have poorly designed code, can cause a bunch of other things to occur in the code. You really, really don't want to do that because what happens is every time you change your code, you have the possibility of introducing errors or mistakes or things that just don't work anymore. Okay? You want to create what's called dry code. Don't repeat yourself. Okay? You want to avoid having any duplicate code. Remember, the way we were wrapping up our date, go for the kiss, do the follow-up, check with friends, all that sort of stuff like that. We're doing the exact same thing for each one of the dates. And we're basically repeating that code in a bunch of different places. Screw that, pull it out, put it in a common place. Dry is all about having each piece of of information behavior system in a single sensible place. Once again, if we decide to do something else at the end of the day, now we have only one place to go to fix it, as opposed to having to go to 3 separate spots to work it in. Keep your code what? Right. Okay, so what did we cover today? I have no idea. We covered dating. How fabulous was that? So now you have everything you need to know about dating.
Yes.
We talked about making a good design, right? We talked about the fact that you want to make your design so that you don't have things sprinkled throughout it. Ultimately, what you're going to spend the majority of your time doing is coming back and fixing or making changes to your design. If you have to go hunting through your code to figure out where you're doing everything, you're going to spend a ton of time doing that, and more often than not, you're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to miss something someplace. So you want to take functionality, condense it, put it in a single spot, and you don't want to repeat the same code over and over again in different spots. Make sense? Fantastic. What are we going to do next time? Oh, well, actually, that's what we did this time. I have no idea what we're going to do next time. It's going to be a complete mystery. That is so cool. All right. We got more Python coming up. How about if we plan on getting back together at 10 after?
All right.